Last night, I had the privilege of listening to David Barsamian from Boulder, Colorado. My apologies. I'm dropping in informally. Because I work across the street. I heard that David was going to be here. And I really think you need to listen to him. It's great stuff to tell. And stories from around the nation. Enjoy.
Well, brothers and sisters, comrades, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. First off, I think your presence is really what democracy looks like and what is badly needed, not only in Tacoma, but all across the nation. In recent days, I've spoken at Occupy Denver, Occupy Boulder, I've visited Occupy Bellingham, Occupy Seattle, and today Occupy Tacoma. This is the most important movement in this country in about 40 years. And in terms of social change and potential, it is enormous. But there's going to be, I think, a tremendous pushback to denigrate and diminish and demoralize you, and it's going to require a tremendous amount of fortitude and dedication on your part to stay the course. As Gandhi once said, first they ignore you, then you fight, then you win. So there are stages to a struggle, and this is just the beginning of it. And a lot of people are already saying that, well, the Occupy people, they are sunshine soldiers and sunshine patriots. Remember that line from Thomas Paine where he was exhorting the Americans at the time of the Revolution, you know, just don't show up when the sun is out and things are good and weather is great and you're having a good time, but can you be there when it is cold and bitter and dark? And that, of course, would be, you know, a major test. The Occupy movement is seen through the lens of corporate media also as very negative, very threatening, and they don't know what to make of you as a group because they want to deal with leaders who have agendas and have 10-point programs and would like to have that kind of hierarchical structure. So the fact that this breaks through traditional kinds of organization makes people in power very uncomfortable. Bosses like to deal with bosses. They feel comfortable with their peers because they know that that person then can give orders to be carried out by everyone else. So consensus building, while it may take more time, while it may be at times also very frustrating, is a very, very, very valuable way to conduct what you're doing. And there will also be provocations from, you know, maybe government agents or just outside agitators who will urge you to be violent, break windows, attack police, or etc., etc. One has to be very careful about that because violence and militancy plays right into the hands of the people with power. What do I mean by that? Who has a monopoly on force? Not you. The state security forces have a monopoly on force. So, you know, if you use a gun, they'll use a machine gun. If you use a machine gun, they'll use a tank. It just keeps going up, on and on. So nonviolent civil disobedience is a very effective, nonviolent civil disobedience is a very effective way to convey your message, and it also extends to you and to this struggle dignity and self-respect, which is very, very important as you go forward with the Occupy movement. And so what is likely to happen? As I said, there'll be agents, perhaps provocators that want you to, well, go on home now, you made your point, you know, point well taken, let the big boys and a few big women attend to business. Well, if we're going to go back to business as usual, you know what that means. Unbridled, rapacious corporate capitalism at home, imperialist wars overseas with no end in sight. With over 725 military bases around the world, there's plenty of money for the war machine. There's no money for you. There's no money for affordable housing. There's no money to create jobs. There's no money to protect the environment. Where is it all going? Much of it is just going pissed away in the imperial war machine, which has nothing to do with the needs not only of the American people, but of the peoples in those countries we are supposedly there to help. It's one of the biggest scams going on in the world, and every empire has done it. They carry out imperial wars to extract resources, all in the name of, not capitalism, all in the name of liberation, of women's rights, of human rights, of democracy, of the free market. So you have this tsunami of lexical obfuscations, and words that are created to prevent you from preventing people from understanding what is actually going on. So corporate capitalism here at home, which is dedicated totally to profits, you are simply an adjunct to the economy. You are a consumer. You are someone whose sole purpose in life is to produce revenue for the corporations so that they can continue to generate profits. So this is an economic system that privileges profits over people. It doesn't give a damn about the people. It doesn't give a damn about the environment. It doesn't care about health, education, any of those important things. Music, art, poetry. Only if they can turn it into a profit. Everything becomes commodified. So to resist that, to first identify it, to speak clearly about it. It is about the capitalist economic system here at home and its expression overseas through imperial hegemony and domination is what we are talking about, at least what I am talking about, that I would urge you in your discussions to pay as much attention to as possible. So I feel rather awkward in this kind of setting because I would rather listen to you and to find out, what you're thinking, what are your needs, what are your desires. I'm literally just dropping in, like an alien from Mars, arrived from Seattle, speaking in Olympia tonight at 7 o'clock at the Washington Labor Council, I think.
Yeah.
If you know anybody in Olympia, if you want to come by, it'll be at 7 this evening. So I would love to hear from you, and also just remind you of a poem by Shelley that Howard Zinn closes his great book, People's History of the United States, with. Shelley says, "Rise like slumber, rise from slumber, O ye lions, ye are many, they are few." And that's a very important thing to appreciate, because the propaganda will have us believe, that we are few and they are many, where in fact we are the overwhelming majority. If it's 99% or 90%, it doesn't really matter. The numbers are with us, and we have moral justice on our side. We have decency on our side. So they are few, we are many. We need to mobilize our power and keep the heat on, because that's what power understands. They don't understand have a nice day, and then march in their parades. There's going to be a parade tomorrow, right? And wave the flag and enunciate patriotic slogans. Power understands pressure, and that's what it responds to, and that's what the Occupy movement is about. It's about thinking differently, if I could use that Apple slogan. Think differently. Think outside the box. Don't think in traditional ways like, well, the Democratic Party, they just need to straighten themselves out a little bit, and then we can really get behind a candidate that we can vote for. I think time and time again you have seen in your lifetime the finesse and the ability, quick a tendency of the Democrats to completely sell out the people, sell out working people, crush the unions. I want to say also there's been a couple of victories just in the last week or so. The shutting down of the port in Oakland was a result of a strike. Very significant, the 5th largest port in the United States. Just a couple of days ago in Ohio, union-busting legislation was defeated in a referendum, so the right of collective bargaining has been restored in Ohio, not yet in neighboring Wisconsin, but in Ohio it's there, as well as the right to free assembly. This morning I just read that attempts by Verizon and Comcast to hijack the internet have been defeated in the Senate. So there are, things here and there that we can point to. I know I'm leaving out some other important victories in recent times, but basically the Occupy movement itself, by its very presence, is a huge victory for democracy. And you are not the sigh of the oppressed, as Marx once described religion. You are in fact the celebration of freedom, you are invigorating the democratic process by your very presence here and your dedication to changing the country and getting it away from rapacious capitalism and imperialist wars overseas. It takes a lot of time. It's not going to happen overnight. Slavery did not end overnight. The right for women to gain the vote did not end overnight. The civil rights movement, ending the criminal wars in Indochina, did not end overnight. It requires sustained effort. And so, in that regard, whatever I can do, alternative radio, I'm at your service. And again, thank you very, very much for being here.